And this is Jackie, and I'm here with Zach of Rise Against. We're at the Fillmore Silver Spring, a really great venue in the middle of this really inclement weather. You're from the Austin, Texas area. What are some?
I'm from there. I'm from Texas. I'm from about an hour north of Dallas, a little town called Sherman. And then I moved to Austin in about 2004.
And Austin's a very musical city.
It is. Well, yeah, characteristically it is. Lately, a lot of the live music venues are getting shut down because Austin has become such a hit place to move to because people come for South by Southwest and all the other sort of various awesome music festivals that happen there. The problem is it makes the population grow and grow and grow, and the city council kind of sees money and sees opportunities to build large apartment complexes and things like that, which in turn is destroying, if you pay a whole bunch of money for an apartment downtown, you don't want to hear live music all night. And so right now there's an issue with a hotel getting built in the middle of the 6th Street area, and it's going to close down a few really awesome, it's potentially going to close down a few really awesome places. And the rent is getting so, I know you didn't ask all this, but the rent is getting jacked up so much on current clubs that the owners are having to bail on those too. So it's quickly becoming just a normal town and not such a cool music town anymore, which is a real drag if you live there. But I guess anytime something blows up that quickly, it sort of bursts at some point inevitably, which is always a drag as well.
Damn gentrification. It's kind of ridiculous. When you are home, what are some radio stations that you tune to?
I mean, for me personally, I'm a kind of a podcast guy, and after doing this so much, I don't, but 101X is the station in Austin, and they've been really good to me. They didn't let me do a takeover one time there. It was like a week. I didn't go for a week. I went for a day and just recorded all the things, but it sounded like I was there for a week, which was really cool. And so, yeah, they've been really, really good to me and really good to Rise Against, which has been great. But I grew up in the Dallas area, and that was KDGE, The Edge, who are still really good to Rise Against and take care of us. Texas radio, rock guitar radio is still sort of alive down there, which is a good thing, and also going the way of the Buffalo, unfortunately.
Yeah, here in the DC area, DC 101, still, I mean, they've been playing Rise Against songs ever since I moved here. Definitely songs off of Black Market as well. Before I turn the camera on, we're sort of talking about kind of a little abridged history of Rise Against. I mean, the band's been around since 1999 or so. How would you say, even since you started 8 years or so ago, how would you say that the sound has evolved?
I don't know. It's hard to answer that just from being on the inside of it because, a band evolves. This is sort of a broad sweeping generalization, but bands, there's 4 or 5 members in each band or 3, and everybody takes 2 some odd years between a record, and if you're sort of have a voracious appetite for music like most musicians do, you're getting into a bunch of stuff. There's always something new coming out, or you're always getting introduced to something that might have been out for a while, and you can't help but that bleed into what you're into. So for us, it's still the same guys getting in the same room looking at each other and going, I've got this riff, and what do you got? And, of course, it'd be ignorant to say that I don't listen to, Unraveling or Black Market. I mean, Unraveling to Black Market or RPM to Suffer or EPM, and say that those records sound the same. There's definitely a growth in that. But it just, to me, sounds like a natural evolution of a band. And some bands stick with the thing they started in the first place, and I love those bands, I love them for what they are. But I also don't think I would do too well in a band like that, I don't think anybody in our band would. You've got to kind of keep it interesting for yourself. If you would alienate some fan base, well, that's a drag. But otherwise, you kind of want to just sort of keep challenging yourself,
Gotta, you grow up. You get a little bit older. Why do you think that the band has remained so strong and has maintained its status for so long? Because not all rock bands last that long anymore.
They really don't. I don't know. I think this band, fortunately, the longevity of the career is probably due a large part to the fact that it started 15 years ago when bands were, it started as a punk rock band as well. That was on Fat Records, where the only ambition was to just get in a van and go and tour. And the band did that and did a lot of that because all of the peers of the band, I was in a band that was a peer of Rise Against before I joined the band. And there was no aspirations of being on a major label or on MTV or anything like that. It was just get in the van, play a show every night, ad nauseum, infinitum, like that's what you did. And so then all of this started happening for the band, and being an outsider at the time, I was like, wow, that Rise Against band is doing great, and it started going for a little engine that could, and it kind of kept that going, and it's kept that going, oddly enough, in an age where rock guitar music really was just not doing very well. But I think it's because of that core value and the way it started, because the band still tours that way. So, the short answer is, I think it's because we just tour a lot. I think it's because we still work like a band that this isn't happening to. We still work like a band that is just, getting in a vehicle and going and playing a show every night and putting one foot before the next, and not looking too far ahead. And I would advise that to any band nowadays that is actually playing rock music, is to put your stuff in storage and get in a van and go ahead and go out and do it, because that's the crowd that's going to stick with you when all of this is gone, and if all of this ever fades or whatever, the people that you kind of earned along the way are the ones that'll stick with you as a working band.
One thing that's also maintained the same, if not gotten stronger, are sort of your beliefs and your level of activism, and that's sort of that core from punk rock music as well. What was your reaction to the news that sort of blew up yesterday on the internet about Cecil the Lion?
Well, I hate to use the word cowardly as I'm talking about a lion, but there's no other way to say it. I think hunting, not just game hunting, is preposterous. I think it's cowardice. I think it's outdated. I think it's an anachronism. I think it's disgusting. Even when people say, "Oh, well, we use everything that we," it's like people needed to hunt at a certain time to live. They needed clothing. They needed food. That was a way of life. It's not a way of life anymore. No one needs to hunt. You could go to the store and buy anything. And I'm not a meat eater. I'm famously, our band is vegetarian. I understand there are meat eaters, and I'm not begrudging anybody for their choices. I'm not, But you don't need to kill something because, let's face it, it's completely selfish. It's completely because you just want the sort of satisfaction of... It's sadistic. I mean, you know what I mean? It's absolutely, it's horrific. To me, and I guess, some people might say I'm overblowing it, but I think I'm understating it, actually. I've never, even when I was a kid, I never saw the point in fishing or hunting. It seemed like a completely outdated concept. And so for this asshole that is some rich guy that can afford to go do this, and then the way they did it, and I know it's all accusations right now, but they lured this lion that it's protected out to shoot it. You can cuss, right? Yeah. In the fucking head, and then cut its head off, and then has he gotten arrested yet? I know that the Zimbabwe authorities are looking for him.
Right now, right before I left, there's still petitions being circulated to ask for his arrest.
He better hope he gets arrested, because people want to kill that guy, and he's never going to practice again. Hopefully he'll never practice again. It seems like that the left getting more empowered with all these great things that have been happening with gay marriage and things like that, is sort of doing something to supercharge the extreme right for things like this. You know what I mean? Like they're doing as much as they can just to piss off the left even more. Like, well, you got this, we're going to do. And to me, this falls hand in hand with this, like fucking Ted Nugent and all that shit. The game hunting and all that stuff. and it seems to be something that people are wearing as a badge of honor, and even getting more, ramped up about it. Also, I try not to pay attention to it because it just pisses me off. But it is something you're seeing a lot more of nowadays, where people are certainly paying more and more money to go and do this. And not only that, there's the thing with the white rhinos and these things that are potentially extinct, and people are paying, that's even more money to go kill something that there's maybe only 10 left of. I don't get it. It's as if people are living nowadays like they lived before, when we were stupider than we are fucking now, before the thing like the internet and things like that. And we're stupid now. But many, many years ago, we're living as if there is no end point. Do you know what I'm saying? Littering and treating the environment like it's just going to be around forever, and killing endangered species and protected species and stuff like that. And I think you could tell it definitely is something that I kind of think about constantly. And when you hear things like this, it makes you ashamed to be. It makes me ashamed to be in the same species with this guy, because I can't apologize for that. I can't, it's kind of those things where it's like a family member embarrassed you, you know what I mean? Like, oh God, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Well, that's how I feel about this, I mean, we're all, somehow genetically linked, and
and just the fact that he's an American. Of course, he's an American that did this. If it wouldn't be, some other nationality, unfortunately.
Being a guy that travels internationally, you get, like, especially the Bush years, you always had, like, so you're a president, right? Like, yeah, he's not my president. But, and we're probably going to get this. So one of you people did this. It's like, yeah, that was really stupid, And of course, it was in America, yeah.
And it always, I think it's very frustrating, because here it is, 2015. Things have changed so much in so many positive ways, yet I think we feel a bit helpless.
Absolutely.
And speaking of presidents, with a new election coming around, it's sort of frightening to even think about that, to be honest with you.